On June 29, 1941, Stokely Standiford Churchill Carmichael was born in the family home at 54 Oxford Street in Port of Spain, the capital of the island of Trinidad. The centrally located house in Port of Spain's Belmont neighborhood rested at the bottom of a set of 42 government-built steps that were a local landmark. The intricately designed house dazzled Stokely's young imagination. The porch and roof rested on 5 levels that gave the entire structure an imposing heft that belied the inhabitants' working-class origins. Adults were impressed, too, especially by the series of movable walls that, properly shifted, turned several rooms into one large space, perfect for hosting the kinds of fete that native Trinidadians enjoy. Stokely was the middle child, bookended by sisters Umilta and Lynette, of master carpenter Adolphus Carmichael and the former Mabel Florence Charles, known by all as May Charles. A jewel of the British West Indies, Port of Spain, like Stokely's ancestry, reflected the diasporic nature of African migration to the New World. May Charles was born in the U.S. Canal Zone in Panama. Her mother and father came from Montserrat and Antigua, respectively. Adolphus traced his paternal roots to Barbados. His mother, Cecilia Harris, was born in Tobago. Stokely inherited his father's bronze color and his mother's fiery temperament. As a child of the English-speaking Caribbean, he claimed a heritage marked by both voluntary and forced relocation. This pan-Caribbean background made him a citizen of the world, who for the rest of his life would feel equally at home in Port of Spain, the Bronx and Harlem, Washington, D.C., Mississippi, and Conakry. Living in a home crowded with in-laws proved to be suffocating for May Charles. She left Trinidad bound for relatives in the Bronx when Stokely was 3. Adolphus followed, arriving in New York in 1946. Stokely would not see either of his parents again until he was almost 11. His extended family became surrogate parents to him, and Stokely pragmatically adapted to these less-than-ideal circumstances. In his parents' absence, he cultivated an independent streak that he would carry with him for the rest of his life. His earliest childhood memories centered on the elegant family home that Adolphus had meticulously built but scarcely enjoyed. The relatively idyllic environment included a local steel band, Casablanca, which practiced at the top of the 42 steps. Cecilia Harris Carmichael, Stokely's paternal grandmother, became the dominant maternal force during his early years, aided by 3 willful daughters, dubbed Tante Elaine, Tante Louise, and Mummy Olga, whose clashes with May Charles had accelerated her departure. Grandma Carmichael doted on Stokely, who suffered from childhood asthma. Tante Elaine was the disciplinarian that the more carefree Mummy Olga could never be. Stokely and his older cousin Austin, Elaine's son, were inseparable. 2 small boys in a house dominated by strong women. Weekend trips to Point 14, 20 miles from Belmont, exposed Stokely to Trinidad's lush beauty, with its tropical forests, deep blue seas, and vast sugarcane fields. As an adult, he would call the botanic gardens he traipsed through as a child perhaps the only completely unambiguous good produced by colonialism. Such bucolic sights coexisted uneasily against Port of Spain's wartime landscape. American military personnel stationed in nearby Chaguaramas filled the bustling city, as did European sailors whose merchant ships docked in the harbor. Yankee dollars flowed into Port of Spain through means legal and illegal, setting up a short-lived boom town. Calypso songs surged through the downtown's thriving nightlife, interrupted periodically by blackouts in anticipation of enemy air raids.